Well, good morning, and thank you all so much for joining us. 2 seconds here. This is the CSU UC Event Professionals Network hot topic for the month of May 2026. I am Sam Camarena. I'm the manager of the CSU Advancement Academy here at the Cal State Chancellor's Office. The CSU UC Event Professionals Network is a subprogram of the Advancement Academy, and we're so thrilled you're all here to join us. Today we'll be exploring the hot topic of new ways to welcome alumni home. During this session, you'll learn ways that both the UC and CSU universities are doing what they're doing to connect with alumni. It's going to involve events and a lot more, so stay tuned. We're going to have 4 presentations this morning in terms of, yeah, relatively short ones, and then they'll be followed with a Q&A session. In the meantime, as we get started and during the presentations, please go ahead and submit your questions on the Q&A pod in Zoom. If it's not coming up right away in your bottom menu, go ahead and hit more and click into Q&A. You'll be able to submit your questions throughout the session there. We ask that you submit them there as opposed to the chat because the chat will likely get a little busy throughout the session as we continue to network with each other or maybe share something that will be inspired from the presentation. That'll allow us to keep track of all the questions that are coming in. And then we ask that you please not submit your questions directly to any of the presenters. So thank you very much there. Before we jump into more about our session, we want to remind everybody about our 2026 conference that is happening on the beautiful Cal Poly Pomona campus later this July. That should be a lot of fun. So the link to register and learn more is in the chat there. It's going to have a lot of educational sessions as well as some, frankly, fun celebratory party moments where we'll have some networking and get to honor our folks that are receiving their awards each year. So you don't want to miss it. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce each of our presenters. And Phyllis, if you could be so kind as to spotlight the person as I introduce them, just so everybody knows who we're talking about, that'd be super. Our friend Mallory McNeil is the Director of Alumni and Community Engagement at San Diego State University. Where she has served in a variety of leadership roles for more than 20 years during her tenure there. Mallory is a proud San Diego native and a double alumna of SDSU with a bachelor's degree in communications and a master's degree in educational leadership. Her career at SDSU has included work in out-of-state admissions, career services, development, regional initiatives, and alumni engagement, which of course has given her a broad perspective on the student and alumni experience and a deep commitment to the university community. In her current role, Mallory leads initiatives focused on strengthening alumni connections, expanding regional and community engagement, supporting volunteer leadership, and creating meaningful opportunities for mentorship and lifelong involvement with SDSU. She is passionate about building authentic relationships and fostering a sense of belonging among students, alumni, and donors, as well as community partners. As an ambassador, many years ago at New Student Orientation, you would hear her say, "It's a great day to be a SDSU Aztec," a phrase that she continues to embody to this day and might make a little bit of a cameo in her background too. Our friend Paula Ceballos is the Associate Director of Alumni and Professional Engagement at the University of California, Berkeley, where she leads initiatives focused on alumni career engagement, mentorship, and digital community building through the My Berkeley platform. Her work centers on creating accessible and meaningful ways for alumni and students to connect through mentorship, networking, and professional development opportunities. Prior to UC Berkeley, Paula worked in careers and corporate relations at the Holt International Business School, where she led global strategic marketing initiatives, partnerships, and career-focused programming, including the launch of the institution's first mentorship program. With professional experience spanning multiple countries and industries, Paula brings a global perspective to alumni engagement and is passionate about building digital experiences that foster belonging, lifelong connection, and community participation across generations of alumni. Welcome, Paula. Next up, we have Jill Rosenau Farwell, where she serves rather as Associate Director of Alumni Engagement Strategy, where she leads the alumni events team and oversees the planning and execution of engagement initiatives and strategic events at UC San Diego. She also partners closely on the marketing strategy to strengthen alumni connections and elevate the overall alumni experience. Um, Originally from a small town in Illinois, Jill moved to the West Coast in 1998 and quickly made California home. Before joining UC San Diego, she spent 6 years as director of promotions and special events at the All Star Cinemas, collaborating with studios, theaters, and celebrities on high-profile grand openings and special events. There we go. Excuse me. Jill began her UC San Diego career in 2012 at the Rady School of Management, where she helped grow executive education programs and expand the school's presence into Orange County. Over the years, she has built a reputation for creating meaningful experiences, fostering strong relationships, and building strategic vision to every project she leads. She's an avid traveler and community-minded leader. Jill has explored 7 countries, including volunteering in Haiti with Habitat for Humanity to build homes for families in need. Outside of work, she enjoys discovering new restaurants, spending time with friends, theaters, movies, treasure hunting at thrift stores and garage sales, and most importantly, she loves being a mom to her son, Liam. Welcome, Jill. And finally, we have our friend Katie Upman, who serves as the Director of Alumni Relations at Cal State Monterey Bay, where she leads alumni engagement strategy, events, communication, and relationship building efforts that connect graduates with the university community. Since stepping into the role just 1 month ago, Katie has focused on listening and learning, building on CSUMB's alumni foundation while identifying new opportunities to deepen connection, belonging, and long-term engagement. She brings a uh, wide-ranging background rather in educational leadership, communications, program design, and community engagement, and systems building. Prior to joining CSUMB, Katie served as a K through 6 school administrator, a communications and public relations officer for the County Office of Education in Monterey, and director of training, learning, and development at Eventbrite. Ooh, what a nice events connection there. A CSUMB alumni with a master's degree in educational administration and leadership, Katie is especially interested in alumni identity, intergenerational connections, storytelling, designing meaningful experiences that help see alumni as see themselves as part of a university's continuing story. So awesome. Thank you, Katie. And welcome to our very esteemed slate of presenters. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and stop my share and turn the focus over to our friend Mallory.
Thank you so much, Sam. It is absolutely wonderful to be here today. Thank you to you and to Phyllis for the invitation, for making us feel so welcome. I know, and hello to all the presenters as well. I know there's going to be some great ideas that come out of the new ways to welcome alumni home. I also want to just give a quick shout out to all of the commencement teams that are absolutely rocking it right now, CSU and soon to be the UCs, and especially our commencement team. I can tell you that 12 ceremonies over 4 days was quite intense. And so that is actually the start for us in some ways of making sure that we are always an SDSU Aztec. So really excited again to be here today. I wanted to just jump right in, knowing that our time, at least for these presentations, could be short. So, one of the main things that we're working to do in SDSU alumni is making sure that we're building lifelong Aztecs. We understand that graduation is a pinnacle of success, and our goal is, of course, to help students in that transition seamlessly from student life to alumni life, and really being able to foster that belonging and connection. We want grads to, of course, feel connected and supported, professionally empowered, and part of our SDSU community, specifically what we call our Aztec network. We couldn't do this without all of our campus partners, some which will come through the presentation, but of course, our URAD partners, and especially development too, because of course, what we're doing is helping to try to build the pipeline so that at some point in time, they ideally would name a building. At least that's what development would like for sure. In the past year and a half, we've actually refocused our goals in SDSU alumni, and recent grad engagement has become one of the top 3 priorities for us. We know that if we capture their love now, ideally, There will always be that connection for them. It's kind of like when you would be, I come from a recruitment background. So when we would talk with students about what drew them to the campus, that energy, that feel, that love, we want them to never lose that connection. Our metrics are actually looking at 0 to 3 years out right now for recent grads. But knowing that the pandemic was hard, I mean, are we muted? Are we not muted? I think we still go through that right now. We've included all of our 2020 grads in any communication that we're sending out at this point in time. We also created a recent grad committee through our alumni board, making sure that that priority, they're coming up with some great ideas, one that you'll be able to hear soon. So again, being able to have engagement with purpose and connection with impact. We all know this. Always in Aztec is one of the things that we're really looking at. I will say the student life continuum right now that we have, it's up there. As you can see, we have the start of a student, but that is only one part of what we're looking to do. So I can tell you that we have some amazing programming that actually even goes on before our students get to campus, our student send-offs, which happen in the summer. I know many universities do that. We love them. Our alums host them. Our current and previous parents are able to host those, and it provides a nice transition. And that's actually something that I focused on in my master's degree is transition, how much that matters between high school to college, but also college to career. So we actually do those send-offs in 3 different out-of-state and 3 different in-state regions and have a very strong partnership with our out-of-state recruitment team. But what we know is that year after graduation is one of the most critical engagement periods. Students are navigating their careers, their identity shifts, networking, relocation. There's complete uncertainty for at least some of them. And so our understanding of their need is the desire for that community that they built, that they felt, making sure that they have professional confidence and that lifelong connection. And we know that this is also where alumni habits are formed. So by creating those meaningful touch points early, we're able to build that long-term engagement and affinity with SDSU. This is actually where I wanted to spend a little bit more of my time. Um, Beyond the tassel, what happens? Again, building confidence, community, and career connections. So you'll see Homecoming on there a couple of times. We do partner with our associated students for Aztecs Rock Hunger, which is a campaign that started many years ago, actually as a competition between the local San Diego schools, but it turned into just something that we love to do. So it actually helps our economic crisis and response team. We have probably at least 5 different events that we do with them, including service events. So really being able to help students understand that merging of current students to the alumni traditions. Fast forwarding to their year, they're graduating. We want to make sure that they're transitioning well. So there's GradFest. It's a fun 3 days. It's a very long 3 days, but it's a fun 3 days for us on campus. And we are watching those students transition into those alumni. And we have our Aztec Network, which is a digital platform. It's actually our whole network beyond that, but we do focus on that digital platform as well. We have Aztec Proud, which is our student philanthropy program. So there's a capstone. We usually go there at new student orientation, grab their connectivity, and then they have cords that they wear at commencement to be recognized as student philanthropists. And then, of course, we have our lifetime memberships because we never want them to actually leave. We have an amazing partnership with Career Services. We're very grateful for that. We have interview coaching, resume, and cover letter. We also have at least 15 career fairs this year. We're still counting that we were able to invite our alums to. So that programming really helps to be able to support if they don't have a job in their 1 to 3 to 5 years after they graduate. We also highlight our alumni mentoring, which is actually our Aztec mentor program that started over a decade ago. That's primarily for our alumni and students. We do have events as well with that. We have a welcome in the fall and usually a connect in the spring with them. Professional development events, and I know there's a lot on here, so I'm happy to expand offline as well in any of these programs. But we have our professional development, which includes networking mixers and industry insight panels. This past fall, we had at least 30 people that were just focused on ASML, which was awesome. And in the spring, we had a little over 60 for a resume focus that an alumni actually gave. We also have mock interviews. So we want to make sure that students are prepared. And maybe it's after they've graduated and they want to be able to get that real world interview experience again for a different industry that they're going into. So we actually held one this spring. That is 50 people or so that joined virtually. And again, many kudos to the entire alumni team for making this happen. Of course, it's not just one person. Our professional headshots, so we want to make sure they have that clean look and feel. And we do that both at our campuses here in San Diego as well as Imperial Valley. And then as we're looking at how are we capturing them once they are graduated, we've started our open house, which was successful for 15 years. So we're excited to celebrate and continue celebrating our home here in the Parma Paine Goodall Alumni Center. One thing that we're going to start this year, so we'll let you know how it goes, is ideally we're going to try to start alumni tours. We know that people would love a standing time to be able to come back to campus. So I've been working with Seth Malios, our historian, and our ambassadors. So we're trying to get something going, maybe a kickoff around homecoming, but hopefully we'll continue. Last and certainly not least is one of the things that came out of our recent grad engagement, which was our alumni video podcast series. We were able to create a whole set. We were able to use the Backdoor Studio, which is within our student union, so great crossover. We have one of our board members that's the host, and then three amazing tech recruiters coming in and giving some cutting edge advice for students. So we're absolutely thrilled that we're able to meet students wherever they are, whether that's physically or virtually. We understand how important that space is. I will also just quickly add that our data for this, for all of the fiscal year events, 25% of our attendees were recent grads. So we're really thrilled. We want to keep that going. Some of the things that we're actually looking about doing as we're moving forward is our Aztec Proud program, which I mentioned just a little bit ago, is an amazing opportunity for our students to really give back. Right now, it's in a financial realm, but we are looking to start more of service organization opportunities. And so that's on the books for this fall, partnered with SDSU alumni. Our alumni pop-up mixers is something one of our board members wants to do. We did a lot of events back in the day at 2030s. Some of you will know, some of our colleagues were amazing at that. So we're looking to bring back some of that programming, but even have it be informal in those pop-up mixers. We're also looking to expand to our student organizations. We have 450 different student orgs on campus. So it's a very strong pipeline for us to be able to connect with them, be able to bridge that gap, which also would help with our chapter growth. Again, we were just able to, in the past year and a half, hire a team. So we have a couple of people that are able to really focus on this right now, which is absolutely amazing. I will say, we're going through migration. So all of this is like kind of changing and adjusting, and we're being very flexible with it. We're actually moving from Anthology iModules, which we've been there for probably close to 20 years, a little bit less, to HiveBright, and then our mentoring platform and community space, which was Graduate. Our career services is actually working with Mentor Collective at this time. So we're excited to see where this goes. I will just say we know that the tassel marks graduation, and we also know that the connection lasts a lifetime. So our goal isn't to just host events, and we do host events, we host great events, but it's really to help students see that graduation is the beginning of their alumni experience. We want every graduate to know that they belong here. They have a network, they have the Aztec network, and SDSU continues to invest in their success. So, always an SDSU Aztec is not just a phrase, it's the experience that we're creating. And that is it for me.
Thank you so much, Mallory. Awesome. Great. You guys are doing fantastic work. Some things I caught right away is you really keeping an eye on that transition, trying to feed that career pipeline so that grads are ready and for what comes next and feel connected with the larger network that they have with their Aztec colleagues, alumni colleagues there. So fantastic. Kudos to you and the alumni team. Next up, I want to welcome our friend Paula to chat about what they're up to at UC Berkeley. And a reminder to everybody on the call, feel free to drop any questions you might have for our presenters into the Q&A pod. We'll go ahead and address those as we can. Go ahead, Paula.
Thank you, Sam. It's nice to meet you all. Today I'm going to be talking about digital engagement and the future of alumni connection. Typically, when we think about welcoming alumni home, we picture physical spaces, reunion, campus events. But for many younger alums, as Mallory put it so well, a connection begins digitally. So at Berkeley, we've been thinking about how digital engagement can create more accessible, ongoing, meaningful ways for alumni to stay connected, not just with the institution, but also with one another. And so, in response to that, we created My Berkeley. But before I talk about My Berkeley, it's important to understand the shift that has happened in alumni expectations. With younger alumni reaching alumni, or younger generations, I should say, reaching alumnihood, we see a shift in the way we engage. I'm sure we've all seen it in our campuses, we've seen it in the case reports, but we're seeing, for example, that from the traditional ways of annual touch points, now alumni want more continued connection. From in-person centered events, now they want more digital and hybrid events. One size fits all, neither want more personalized touch points. Networking events, they still love to meet in person and mingle, but they want a little more. They want a career component to it, especially navigating today's job market. From passive alumni audiences, we're seeing that now they want to actively participate more. So, in response to this, we created My Berkeley, a digital home for the Berkeley community. But what really is My Berkeley? You can think of My Berkeley as a LinkedIn where everyone from Cal is a first level connection, but it's really much more than that. Within our platform, there's opportunities for mentorship, networking, events, jobs, opportunities for alumni and students to engage with one another. Oops, it's not going. There we go. Career guidance, opportunities for them to connect with different units and schools within Berkeley. Currently, we have more than 44,000 bears that have joined. We have collaboration with different Berkeley units and schools that utilize our platform to host their events or host their programs and elevate their opportunities as well. So we're seeing with our platform, there's three main themes that really support the success we've been seeing. One of them is really focusing our programming in career and mentorship. Whoops. And so one of the key components is careers. As I was mentioning earlier, there's a shift, especially with the current job market, where younger generations might not be ready to give back through philanthropy or traditional programming, but they will return for mentorship, getting some career guidance, finding networking opportunities, exploring jobs. And so within our platform, we have three features that really help in those different areas. The first one that you can see here is community mentorship. This is what's very similar to LinkedIn. Bears can go in here, students and alums, and find the right person to connect with, and they can do their personalized search. So if I'm an alumni looking to connect, for example, with other alums that work in the tech industry, that serve in a marketing capacity, that work for, let's say, Amazon, that are in the San Francisco area, that have a degree from the College of Letters and Science, I can add all of those personalized fields and find the right alumni to connect with. And some of the great things as well is that it has special features that make it even more so a personalized connection. So, for example, alumni can list what they're willing to help with. So, if I'm a younger alum looking to get some feedback on my resume before I start applying for jobs, I can search for alumni that are willing to do that. You can see when the last time they were active. You can book a meeting directly through the platform. A lot of things that makes alumni more willing to make all these connections through the platform versus using something like LinkedIn, for example. We also have formal mentorship programs. This is more so for alums and students that are willing to have a more structured form of mentorship. This typically lasts for a semester or an academic year. And the mentorship programs we have in our platform are all super diverse. So they have different goals. We have programs that are from the different departments at Berkeley. So this also helps alumni explore the different opportunities where they can give or receive mentorship in a more structured form. Lastly, job exploration. We have an integration with Handshake in our platform. So all the jobs that they can see on the Handshake platform, they can also access through My Berkeley. And in addition to that, alumni can also list their own job opportunities here for other alumni to see and apply to. And one thing that I love, and you can see it in the screenshot here, for the alumni that we do have on the platform already, let's say someone's interested in Tesla, and I'm interested in this engineering position, it's going to tell you which alums from the platform work there to give you a head or some support in, hey, this might be a really great person that you can connect with to have a coffee chat or to learn more about this position. The other thing that we see works very well is lowering the barrier to participation. Digital engagement not just allows more alumni anywhere in the world to access these opportunities, but it also allows them to participate as much as they can. So, for example, some alumni might not have the time to join a full-on mentorship program, but they have time to answer a student question or to answer another fellow alumni question. Some alumni might still be exploring careers, not sure what to do, or looking to pivot industries, so they can just join a virtual event. Some alumni might need some mentorship in a more structured form or are ready to give mentorship to another fellow alumni or student, and they can become a mentor through our mentorship programs. The last one, and this you've seen me touch on in the other 2 points, personalization. It's super important, especially with younger generations. They really want interest-based and personalized engagement. And it's just like for us, people engage when experiences feel relevant. I'm sure it's the same for all of you when you're learning about a new platform or learning about a new service. You want to make sure it's relevant for what you want to accomplish. And this is true for our alumni as well. So focusing on this really allows to surface tailored opportunities, connect alumni by industry or identity, create smaller communities within larger institutions. At Berkeley, we are so big, we have so many different programs and fantastic resources from all our different schools and departments. But sometimes because it's so big, it's hard for alumni to navigate all the things that they can still receive from Berkeley or that they can engage with. So having a platform that centralizes some of these resources and tools is very useful. Within our platform, we actually have also something that's called Schools and Colleges. And it's essentially a branded hub for schools or departments at Berkeley where they can have their own events, jobs, communities, formal mentorship programs, discussions. And these allow for the people that are part of that, say, specific school to have those tailored resources for them, but also get the benefits of being a part of this broader community where they can engage with everyone. And the last one, support belonging at scale. This really supports people feeling like they belong, that they're coming back home to this digital space where they can find all these resources, where they can engage in the forms that they can. For this, in the end, so what we're learning, before I go into this, I would say one of the main things we're seeing is that the programming is shifting from being school-centric, where the programs and the events that we're putting together are meeting what the school specifically wants, to really putting the alumni at the center of the events and programming we're putting. So from our platform, we're learning that alumni want flexible engagement. They want to engage, but they want to engage in the moments that they can and in the forms that they can in the different points that they're at in their careers. Career connection drives participation. Career is really one of the main drivers of our platform strategy, but not just for our platform, for our general alumni relations strategy. At Berkeley, we are proud to be the only UC campus that offers free one-on-one career counseling for alumni that have graduated within the past 2 years. And we're seeing that there's more than 1,600 alums that utilize this service every year. So we really see that alumni from recent classes are wanting that career aspect, are wanting more of that career-informed type of events and programming to help them navigate what the market is looking like. Digital spaces still need human warmth. Younger generations, Gen Zers, really want to see authenticity, really want to connect with things that that are a part of their belonging. And so it's really important for them to be able to do their personalized search, connect with people that share their affinities, that share groups that they were a part of when they were at Berkeley. So that's one of the main things also that we're prioritizing with our platform. Clear onboarding matters. This is true for career programming, but it's also true for digital engagement. For us, for example, we really focus on building a pipeline of alums before we open the invitation for students to join our platform. So that way, students would already find some value with all the different alums that they were able to connect with, that know how to use the platform, that have started exploring it before we open those conversations. Staff collaboration. This is essential, and I think one of the main reasons why our platform is doing very well is that from the beginning, we collaborated with different units, departments to have spaces or to host their opportunities within My Berkeley. And this really helped us take the conversation from, hey, here's a new resource that you can leverage, to this is a resource our school or department is using, students and alumni, you need to get on it. So I really recommend collaborating with the units or departments at your school as much as possible. It really not only helps to get the word around, but it also helps that engagement feel genuine for the different alumni audiences. And lastly, smaller interactions still create impact. Any little things, whether it's just a conversation with a student, responding an alumni message, giving an alumni a tip, or having a full-on conversation through connecting with My Berkeley is something that is meaningful, especially in younger alums that are exploring their careers. So I'll leave you with this. Well, events remain super important. And at Berkeley, for example, we have our Alumni Mentorship Night Mixer coming up. We are seeing that welcoming alumni today means creating spaces where alumni can participate continuously, authentically, and from anywhere. So I hope this was really useful and you got some great tools for you all to start or continue growing your digital strategies for alumni engagement. If you want to dig deeper, I'd love to share more, so feel free to connect with me. My LinkedIn is here. And thank you again, Sam and Phyllis, for the invitation.
Of course. Thank you, Paula, for sharing all that awesome information with us, and kudos on what seems to be like a very successful program. We did have one quick follow-up question. Folks are wondering what platform you're using for the mentorship program, and maybe while we're on the subject of platform, maybe you just tell us any other platforms you might be using for My Berkeley.
Absolutely. My Berkeley is powered by People Grove, and People Grove, you can truly personalize it as much as you can, or want, I should say, depending on your campus needs. So within People Grove, you can have a People Grove instance with just a mentorship program, for example, if you wanted to do that. Or you can make it be a bigger ecosystem like we do, where we have the community feature that is like LinkedIn, we have our formal programs, we have the school and college spaces. We have groups, events, jobs, so you can really customize it. And I'm happy to share more, but we've seen great success with this partner.
Fantastic. Thank you. Alrighty. Now I want to turn the focus over to our friend Jill, who's gonna share some insight from UC San Diego.
Thanks, Sam, and welcome everyone. Thanks for attending today. So I'm going to jump outside the box here a little bit. So we have new ways to welcome alumni home, but the way we're looking at it the past couple of years is that we're going, there we go. We're going to where our alumni live. So in turn, we're building a pathway and building momentum to bring these alumni back to campus. By going to them, we've noticed that looking at our numbers, all the UC San Diego alumni, the Tritons live in San Diego first and foremost. A lot of people stay here, but they do go elsewhere. So we definitely cover the California region, and we go also to New York, DC, and our goal is to create the decade of alumni for the next 10 years to focus on our alumni and the Tritons from the gold, which is the graduates of the last decade, all the way to our golden Tritons, which have been out of school or 50 years or over. So, and we bookend that by doing events at the beginning of the year with our gold members and then throughout the year. And then we sort of close that loop with the golden Tritons at commencement by having them process with the graduates. So it honors them in another way of just sort of closing that loop. So we go to where our alumni are, and to do that, we do Triton Wave Makers. These are our inspirational speaker series, which we work with our own UC San Diego deans, provosts, and professors. And then we pull in alumni for a panel to discuss socioeconomic topics within that region. So, such as DC, Seattle, San Diego. We pick timely topics and things that the region is looking at and working on, and we bring our journey and our leadership to them. And then in turn, we're hoping to get them back to campus. So there's sort of a two-way road here. We are looking at some new adventures going to Boston, Chicago, Denver, and Philadelphia. We're finding that we have more alumni moving out of California and moving into these other regions. And we also like to piggyback on conferences. For example, our Philadelphia event will coincide with the Bio International Conference in Philadelphia. So such things like that. We're also following that conference to San Diego as well. So by bookending either the beginning of the conference, the middle, or the end of the conference, it helps us to draw in other folks, not just UC San Diego alums, but then we spread the word. Another event we do that we've taken to the region for 44, 45 years, it was on campus and it was known as Alumni Celebration Weekend. It is the Illustrious Alumni Awards. So we have fine-tuned it to be a massive event, but in your region. So we go to New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and we pick honorees that are prominent in those regions, and they're the top echelon of UC San Diego Tritons. And this allows us to celebrate those specific alumni with their family, friends, and colleagues in their region, in their homes, and help build up momentum to bring them back to campus. And then all of this is building up in our Decade of Alumni to the grand opening of our Triton Alumni and Welcome Center on campus, which is going to be a historic moment. So we're building a ton of events around that and doing that. We're bringing everyone home. So this has been our momentum. And first and foremost, we have negotiated a deal to offer 50% off of parking, which seems to be a giant barrier. Paula, speaking of lowering the barriers, that's a huge, huge component, is to be able to provide them with consistent discounts to get them to campus. We also have a trolley that now stops at our campus, stops right at the heart of campus by the Price Center. And we have an amphitheater. We have a lot of stuff going on campus. So not only are our Tritons coming home, but we have a lot of community members experiencing the campus. And so this November, we will open our Triton Alumni and Welcome Center. We will be offering tours. We will be doing a Triton Alumni Bash that is geared specifically towards alumni. We will then filter into athletic events that weekend, which is our overarching event of homecoming. So we're sort of combining some really large events together. We have joined the Big West Conference, so that's another factor bringing people back. And then we'll be hosting alumni awards on campus. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of sort of outside the box thinking by bringing us, the university, to the people in their homes and then bringing them to campus for our grand opening of the Triton Center. So short and sweet, but that's our plan. That's what we've been working on, our Decade of Alumni.
I love how it built up and how it's slowly creating that wave of people from across the country, bringing them back to San Diego for
Definitely.
that opening of that event. So love the strategy behind that.
Thank you.
Alrighty. And now we're turning the focus over to our friend Katie Upman from CCU, excuse me, Monterey Bay. Too many acronyms there. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, so I shall share my screen here. Share. Okay. So as was mentioned in my biography, my name is Katie Upman. I'm the new Director of Alumni Relations here at CSUMB. It is actually my 9th week here, so I am just soaking all of these ideas up. They're so great. So I'm approaching this topic from the point of view of building a program out. So we are a newer institution. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary. And our alumni program is a blank slate to grow. So for me, my thought process this summer right now is really how do we reconnect with our alumni from the past 30 years that we haven't been keeping up with. Our alumni program has been here, but it hasn't been a main focus. So I'm really working on building community and the feeling of belonging and reminding our alumni of their identity and their passion for the campus. So welcoming alumni home isn't just about bringing people back to the campus for an event. It's about helping people recognize that they still have a place here with their identity. And we have done surveys because we don't have sports teams for our traditions as some of the bigger universities do. Our alumni repeatedly say that their connection to campus is relational. The groups that they hung out with, their affinity groups, their professors, etc. So how do we remind them that they still have a place rooted in identity here and that their experiences still matter? So one of the ways I'd like to do this is helping our alumni see themselves in the current students and that they're not a separate group. And so sharing their story with current students. So one of our university values is community and belonging, and our motto is the strength of us. And so I would like to dip my toe into an event this summer called Otter to Otter Conversations. We have an alumni and visitors center here on campus, and there's a literal fireplace there, which is fantastic. And so I would like to invite local alumni back to have conversations with current students and record these conversations using prompts such as what was campus like when you were here? What do you wish you knew when you graduated? And having the alumni talk about this so that we can find patterns with the stories that they're sharing. And students can also share their own stories. And the alumni, I think, are going to be very impressed with what they're hearing with the students. And it's also going to reignite that flame inside of them that they had when they attended here. But there are also micro events that we can do to kind of continue this afterwards. Also, I don't have much of a budget. I'm not sure about you guys. So I approached this with events that you could have that maybe you provide refreshments at, but they don't cost a lot of money to do. So this will not only help you meet your engagement metrics and connect your alumni to current students, but it's not going to cost a lot. So the first is an interview practice lab. If we can bring our local alumni back to campus to work on mock interviews with our current students, I think they're going to be so impressed with what they're hearing that our students are working on. And they are going to start making connections. Oh, I know somebody in that industry. Let's get you an internship. Let's get you a mentorship or a job when you graduate. They're going to see all the amazing things that our professors and our colleges are doing and innovating. If we have founding alumni who were here 30 years ago, the programs are very different than when they were here. So it's going to serve two purposes. Our alumni will be mentoring current students with interview and professional skills, but also we're planting seeds of look at how our university has grown. That way, when our donor relations team have projects that they'd like to approach alumni on that they're fundraising for, alumni will say, I see the value in those projects because I have directly talked with the students who are benefiting from those projects. Career story circles. So bringing 2 to 3 alumni back to sit with students and just talking about their careers, their experiences, their stories. So many times in my career, I've been paired with mentors who haven't even asked me where I have been in my professional journey. And the context, the fires that we've walked through, all of that, we can share that with people as advice, but also to kind of give them a glimpse of the future. Ask an alum anything tables. So create theme tables around identity. We have a lot of affinity groups here. We don't want to forget industry, career stage, or lived experiences. And going the visual route, creating, oh my gosh, I am so sorry, you guys. I just realized I totally skipped a slide. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna go back to this first slide here. Okay. So we talk about the interview practice lab and the career story circles here. Ask an alum anything tables. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Let me scroll down to my notes here. Okay, ask an alumni anything tables. So first generation, we specifically recruit first generation students. So bringing back first generation alum, what was their experience? If they didn't have parents in the professional world to help them with networking. Public service is very different than the corporate world. Entrepreneurship, if we have students from our business school, and kinesiology, our School of Kinesiology has actually one of our largest group of entrepreneurs starting their own physical therapy and training businesses. Neurodiversity in the workplace, that's a big passion of mine. How are we supporting our students when there's no IEPs or 504s in the rural world, etc. First 90 days after graduation panels. So we just had almost 3,000 students graduate. What is their experience going to look like in those first 90 days of a job? How do they navigate HR? I've been onboarding for 9 weeks and it's insane, and I've been working for over 20 years. So how can we support them? And then lastly, a Future Otters showcase. So here at CSUMB, we have what are called capstone projects that our graduating students work on their entire last year here, and then they present them at the end of the year. But how can we help all of our students showcase their passions and the projects that they're working on? Because I think our community will just be so impressed when they see this. So if we start bringing our local alumni back, visiting alumni too, if they'd like to really talk and connect with our current students, I think it's going to remind them of their experiences here and reconnect them, and they're going to be eager to continue to be involved in these events. Okay. But when we look at alumni as a whole, we have been around for 30 years, and within those 30 years, experiences have varied widely. My husband's a founding alumni. He graduated with his undergraduate in 1997. I got my master's here during quarantine. Really different experiences. So how do we connect our alumni that way? So you can have a then and now alumni mixer where you, for us, pair founding era alumni with recent graduates to just talk about life stages, perspectives, and what has their experience been since graduating. 30 years, 30 stories. This is really stacking and creating a timeline of experiences and how campus culture has been shaped through layers of our alumni. We're renovating a building called the Black Box Cabaret right now, and our current alumni haven't experienced that because it's been closed for several years. So how has that experience changed? Founders and future builders conversations. So when our original alumni were here, the school was not even accredited yet. They didn't know if their degrees were going to be worth anything when they graduated, and they were holding their breaths. They started the sports teams, they started the clubs, they shaped the academic world that we live in right now. But our recent alumni have also had to innovate through different world and local political situations, through quarantine. We're still building programs here. So what does innovation on our campus look like? How has that changed or stayed the same? And how can our alumni perhaps get involved in leadership councils, committees, or work with our current students on innovation? What we've built and what we're building wall. Earlier alumni and more recent alumni doing a visual compare and contrast of their experiences here, perhaps making it a digital storytelling platform. And then lastly, legacy exchange tables. I love this. Invite alumni to bring back swag from their time here, any mementos, pictures, etc., and just have different tables for different years, year bands, and connect them that way. So my hope is that when our alumni come back for these events and they engage in these conversations and they have their nostalgia reignited. Anytime I talk with an alumni from CSUMB, their whole face lights up, their whole body posture changes. They are so passionate about their experiences here, and nobody really knows why. I mean, it's a great university, but I got my master's here. I was a night student. I had to use my GPS every single time to get to my class. I couldn't have even told you where the Union was. But when I graduated and took my picture with Monty, our mascot, I almost cried. Like, there's just something about this university. And so if we can bring our alumni back, have them see that there are amazing students doing the work here and graduating, and it's not just Gen Z, it's the next wave of otters, and connecting them to the alumni throughout the years that we've kind of missed because we haven't had such a robust program here, then they will see that this is truly their legacy, and they won't be able to stop talking about it. The testimonials and the advocacy will come so easy. Our donor relations teams will be able to call them up and ask them for time, treasure, talent, whatever it is we need. And it will just become a cycle. So that's our goal.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Katie. I think you have the makings of some very exciting programs right there, and I love the connections across the generations there. Want to just invite everybody to we've entered the Q&A portion. We'll be taking a couple minutes to just broad questions across any of our presenters or to any of them individually. You're welcome to raise your hand, or if you have more comfortable typing in your question in the Q&A pod, that's still open. In the meantime, there are a few that we have kind of in our back pocket to keep conversation going. Um, uh, one second here while I pull those up. I should have had them ready. This one I'm gonna direct at Jill for to start us off with. Curious, what kinds of programming help alumni feel seen as individuals rather than just donors or attendees? As we heard, a lot of our institutions have kind of a strategy for folks to kind of move them towards, being a donor or something further. But like, how do we work that into events to make them feel at the individual first?
We find that doing panels of local people within the region is really helpful, and also to make it not so fundraising esque, we often host our events at locations you don't normally have access to, or you would have to pay to have access to. So, such as the Peterson Automotive Museum, you'd have to pay to get in. And so, when we host at like places like that or the Grammy Museum, people are more interested in attending to see the rest of the space. And then it becomes when we utilize that whole space, it becomes more of a networking feel and an opportunity to really get to know other people, build relationships to develop that pipeline. So it's almost like they're none the wiser that what is really happening is eventually fundraising efforts, but we're just building relationships at that point.
Awesome, love that. I'm not sure if any of the other presenters have thoughts to share as well on that question.
We So I use the royal we. It is just me doing alumni relations over here. But before I worked on it, the gentleman that worked on it was half donor relation, half alumni. And so there was a very specific decision that when they hired me to separate alumni relations from donor relations so that I could focus entirely on engagement and relationships and building bridges to our alumni. However, I always have donor relations in my mind because that is the eventual goal. So everything that I do is rooted in helping alumni remember why they love this campus so much and connecting them back to the work that we're doing here so that also we have so much work to do on our database and updating it and getting segmentations added. So that's a huge part of this. So once I've built that sense of identity and belonging and nostalgia within our alumni, and I have our updated information and segmentation, our donor relations team will have the world at their fingertips because I'll be able to say, I talked with so-and-so and I could really see that they were responding to the work that's being done in the College of Science because they were at this event. Go for it, and then they're the ones that will reach out so that I am never getting messy with my relationships, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's a good way to kind of share back to the different parts of the advancement unit and things like that as well, because that connection also needs to be there. And ultimately that's what you need to move people into these different roles or to be donors or et cetera. Awesome. Thank you, Katie. Um, Jennifer is wondering if folks, well, we touched on it in a couple of presentations in terms of having successful partnerships with colleges and campus partners. Do any of our presenters want to chat on what kind of is behind some of those successful partnerships? Maybe we can start with Mallory.
Absolutely. One of the things we actually did this year, I have a counterpart of in marketing in our office. And so we actually met with all of the development directors and teams, as well as their marketing people at the beginning of the fiscal year, to make sure that we were all on the same page. They were long meetings, but they were really beneficial, at the 6 month mark to be able to come back, check out, make sure that we're all on the same page. We have a great relationship with student affairs and campus diversity on campus. So we we love working with them. We love working with the student orgs. I think it is frequent communication. So even just getting out of the office and asking for coffee, I find myself, we're over on the west side of campus. So trying to get over to the main hub of campus also is fun, getting to run into people. Having that organic feel is also really, really helpful, at least for us. That's the nature of what we do. So making those connections organically are how we like to do it. But the structured meetings really help to kick off our fiscal year solidly.
Awesome. Structured meetings with the organic stuff around it. So you have the pleasure and the business of like the both things. Okay. Fantastic. Paula, did you want to chime in on that as well? I know you partnerships were critical to your work as well.
Yes, I'm gonna have to second everything Mallory said. I think the more authentic the connections feel, the more that people are getting value out of it. And in our line of work, communications are super important. For our team, we have a community of practice. It's called BAEG, so it's a Berkeley alumni engagement. So everyone that works in alumni engagement can join that community of practice and are always getting communications on the latest things we're doing. I have a newsletter, for example, that goes out quarterly. I always issue content calls so that they can elevate their opportunities to the alumni that we're servicing in that newsletter. So I think keeping that constant communication is super important. And then in terms of our platform, so I think one of the main things that helped us is some of the partners that we initially started collaborating with already had People Grove instances. So as much as we were creating this great space, we also learned a lot from them actually. We learned from their mistakes, from the things that have worked well from them, and we used some of the things that they've used to create this broader space for our whole Berkeley community. So one thing that we always like to say, especially with my Berkeley is not there to take away from any opportunities. Instead, it's there to elevate opportunities. So we always try to position it as something that is there to service the different units and departments on campus. And I think that's something that they can see from when their alumni and students join the platform. So that in turn makes them more willing to keep collaborating, keep sharing about it. So yeah, I would say keeping those authentic connections, communicating with them as much as you can, giving them opportunities to elevate the work. I think that really helps in building those relationships.
Thank you for sharing. Do just want to call out in the Q&A pod, somebody asked a question about how to make happy hours more, alumni happy hours more intentional engagement, and Jill shared some awesome thoughts in terms of adding kind of an extra element to it or some kind of cachet, turning those into beach parties or watch parties or sporting events that folks could attend at local games. I think as was touched on one of the presentations too, anything that could add some level of personalization or just a little bit of that wow factor, I think really elevates what these events are and probably increases kind of their interest amongst alumni populations as well. So, on the next question, I know a couple of us touched on different generations of alumni and how they have different appetites, particularly the differences between the most recent alumni, Gen Z, and others. Maybe Paula, you can get us started off there. I know you touched on it a little bit in your presentation, but anything else you want to add or really drive home in terms of some of these generational differences that you're seeing with some of the newer alumni?
Yeah, I mean, I would say mostly for newer alumni, that career component is so important. We know since COVID times, the market has shifted completely, and some of our newer generations are going into a market that is hard for them. So, the career resources that they received as students, some of them don't have them anymore as alums, and they're still exploring, they're still navigating this market. So I would say trying to incorporate some sort of career component into the things we're doing, especially for some of those alums that because of COVID, they navigated being in school at times where some things were digital and they didn't have a lot of in-person exposure. Some of them struggle a little more with making those connections and networking in the traditional forms that we know. So making events a little more, not only with that career component, but a little more interactive. So it's easier to start a conversation versus trying to figure out your elevator pitch. I think it's always super helpful for those younger generations. And I have to insert mentorship here because I'm a big advocate for that. But I also think for the older generations, some of them really want to give back, and maybe they're not ready to give back through a donation or through a certain gift, but they are willing to talk to a student, to help someone, give some advice, share some of the things that they've learned in their careers, be a referral. So I would say leveraging also on the different ways that alumni can mentor is also something really good to sort of make that connection between the two generations and learn how we can support one another through the different alumni we have.
Thank you, Paula. Just checking in to see if any other presenters have anything further to add there. You knocked it out of the park. Thank you, Paula. I did drop one question that came in through the Q&A into the chat. I thought that would be helpful for everybody here on the call to share how they're working with their regional clubs and directors and how they're sharing the info between the two. But turning it back to our presenters, any of you guys working closely with your regional elements and tips in terms of how you're navigating that effectively for promoting their events?
We're going to see. Well, again, moving to Hivebright, we're hopeful that it will be in their hands. Right now, for all of the engagement events that we have in any of our regions, we're the ones that are holding that data. We're the ones that are making the 3 or 4 different emails, the web page, we're sending them out. We're nonstop busy in that, but we're really hoping that this shift to Hivebright gives each of our whether they're affinity leaders or regional leaders, that accessibility to be able to do that all themselves. But we do have a newsletter as well that goes out once a month, and that goes to close to our 300,000 that we have contactable information for. And we actually started something new recently of storytelling. So we have alumni videos now that there's usually 2 in each. So shout out to our marketing team as well for that. And we've seen a huge uptick in people watching it because they're getting to see those stories live. And so that's really helping to be able to encourage people to do the events and contact our office to be able to make those events actually happen.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. We're a little over time, so I want to thank all of our presenters one more time for your time here. Folks, feel free to use the reactions button in Zoom to give folks a round of applause. Hopefully, we can get one of those little bursts. There we are. Thank you so much. That's the burst of our appreciation for you all and sharing your time and your insight with us. As you've all noticed, the session is being recorded, and that recording is going to post to the CSU Event Professionals Network YouTube channel very shortly, along with links to some of the slide decks as well. Please go ahead and save the date on your calendar of June 25th at 11 a.m., same time, for June's hot topic, which is going to be the app advantage for event pros, working smarter, not harder. Well, we will explore the intersection of technology and events. So keep an eye on your email for the link to sign up, and please spread the word. And with that, thank you all so much for logging on today. Again, kudos for those of you that have made it through commencement, and sending my thoughts and prayers to those of you that are still have that coming. But you guys got this. So thank you for all you do, and have a great rest of your week as well.